All right. Well, thank you all so much for joining today. We have Dr. Booth and Sarah Miller with us from the Computer Science Department. So I'll hand it over to them to share with us a little bit more about computer science.
Thank you. Welcome, everybody. I'm Dr. Booth. I'm the Associate Chair of Computer Science. I'm also a Senior Lecturer within Computer Science. And I'm excited this morning to share with you a little bit about what it is to be a computer scientist. So there's sort of two things you need to accomplish as you're picking a university. You need to pick a university that is a good fit for you, and then you need to pick a major that is a good fit for your talents. And so I want to make sure that if Baylor is where you want to land, that computer science is a good fit, so that you don't get here and are surprised by what we do in computer science. Sometimes we have students who love to play video games, so they want to be a computer scientist, and they discover that computer science may in fact create video games, but we're more about math theory than the actual playing of the game. So we'll get started. First, a little bit about myself. I've been at Baylor for almost 30 years. I specialize in education, and for that reason, I teach almost all the freshmen. So if you come to Baylor and you choose computer science, there is a 90% chance that I will be your very first computer science professor. And the reason for that is that we want to make sure that everybody has a very solid and consistent foundation in the introductory content. Having said that, I'd now like to ask you a question. What is computer science? Right? And this would normally be a very interactive time of the presentation. I'm going to let you ponder that for maybe 5 seconds, and then I'm going to go ahead and answer that question for you. So frequently, students will provide me the answer that computer science is programming, or computer science is using a computer to solve problems. And all of that sort of dances around what it is to be a computer scientist, but fundamentally, computer science is problem solving. We happen to specialize in problems that are computational in nature, and therefore a computer is the best tool to use for solving the problems that we focus on. But we don't actually view ourselves as people who write code. That would be like going to a doctor. In fact, a doctor is a great example. Physicians are not named after the tools they use. So when you're feeling sick, you don't go see a stethoscope. Computer science is weird in that we're actually named after the tool we use rather than what we do with the tool. We're one of the few fields that got named that way. So there's no such thing as beaker science. We call that chemistry. There's no such thing as microscope science. That's biology. Computer science should properly be named combinatorics, or the study of problem solving relating to computation. The next big question I want to ask is, why is Baylor a university and not a school or a college? And the answer to that one is because we're made up of schools and colleges. So we have what would be called a universal education. We have the College of Arts and Sciences. We have the School of Social Work. We have Truett Seminary, the Business School, the Honors College, the Law School. And within all of that is situated the School of Engineering and Computer Science. And all those schools and colleges together form a university. Honors College needs to be singled out and discussed, because frequently in high school, honors means what the smart kids do. There's algebra and there's honors algebra. There's English and there's honors English. At the academy, honors doesn't mean the same curriculum set aside but more challenging for brighter students. So we have to go back to the fundamental, why is Baylor a liberal university? It's not because we're politically liberal, it's because we're educationally liberal. So in politics, there's liberals and conservatives, but in academia, there's liberal education and there's progressive education. A liberal education is what the foundation of the academy was built on hundreds of years ago. We wanted individuals who could read well, write well, knew a little bit of math, but they were really good reasoners. And it was a pure liberal education. It wasn't designed to create a skilled trade. It was designed to create a well-rounded, well-educated individual who then would learn a skilled trade, typically going into the family business. They'd take over the factory or they'd take over the plantation, but they needed a broad liberal education. It wasn't until the early 1900s, during the Industrial Revolution, that we needed a progressive education. We needed education that would train people to be plumbers, carpenters, computer scientists, physicians. Those are all sort of progressive or sometimes called professional disciplines. I think Baylor is the best of both worlds. We have professional degrees like computer science, but it's situated within a liberal context. So the core curriculum is still going to make sure that you are well-read, you understand history, you understand society, you understand social implications, moral decisions, while gaining a technical degree. So a Baylor graduate isn't going to be just skilled in coding or problem solving. They're also going to have that broad liberal education that forms their worldview. And so I think we get the best by being at Baylor. There's a lot of places to get a technical degree at Baylor. Within the College of Arts and Science, you can get a Bachelor's of Arts in Computer Science. And also within the business school, you can get an MIS, a Management Information Systems degree, which is also related to technology. Within the School of Engineering and Computer Science, our electrical engineers get a degree in electrical and computing engineering. But within computer science, we have two broad areas. We have informatics, where you can get a degree in bioinformatics or a degree in data science. And the BSCS, which is our Bachelor's of Science in Computer Science, which has a general track, a software engineering track. The game should be replaced. I thought I'd fix this slide. The gaming track is no longer here. It was replaced with cybersecurity. So we're seeing the game track insert cybersecurity. So I want to talk a little bit about what these different degrees are and what the differences are. Why would I want to get a degree in a BA instead of a BS? Why would I want a Bachelor's of Arts rather than a Bachelor's of Science? Well, as suggested by the degree, the Bachelor's of Arts is more of a liberal arts degree. So there's a little more English, a little more political science, a little more sociology, and a little less math. It's a fantastic degree. If your plan is to go and get an MBA or go straight into industry, this is a great degree. But if it's your goal to go on and get a master's degree in computer science, this degree might not prepare you quite as well as you'd like. The MIS degree is for business-minded people who want to bridge the gap between hard computer science and the business world. And that's where an MIS person would fall. They can speak business on one hand, and they can speak computer science on the other hand, but they're not a computer scientist. Electrical and computer engineering, those are folks who care about wires, right? They're actually going to build the circuits. And then we get to computer science. And within computer science, there's sort of a range of takes from very close to the hardware to almost pure theoretical. And Baylor's degree is more theoretical. So we would really situate ourselves as a theoretical computation program. Within that, we have the informatics section, which is bioinformatics. That's a hybrid between genetics and computer science. We have lots of pre-meds who like that degree because not only do they learn to code, but they take enough biology to prepare themselves for med school. That grew out of the phenomenon of the Human Genome Project. Biologists expressed the entire human genome, and then they had a terabyte of data and had no idea what to do with it. So they turned to computer science. And the computer scientists said, well, what's a gene? And so we needed somebody who knew both. And so the bioinformatics degree studies genetics and the part of computer science that allows you to understand and manipulate the data that comes from genetics. So they don't necessarily deal with cybersecurity and they don't deal with networking, but but they deal with database and algorithms for solving big problems. Data science, brand new degree. This is the second year it's been around. A data scientist is interested in the collection of data, the cleaning of data, because data is frequently corrupted, the analysis of data, and the visualization of data. So they're doing analytics, and that is an extremely hot topic right now. Then we get to the Bachelor of Science in Computer Science, and that is the pure, most technical CS degree. I'll talk a little bit later about our top graduate last May who started at $160,000 with a $60,000 sign-on bonus. So that sounds really attractive to students. It sounds extremely attractive to parents because we got to pay off that Baylor tuition somehow, and that's a huge buy-in. But let me caution you, if money is your motivation for seeking a degree in computer science, you're setting yourself up for a lifetime of misery. Right? I want you to seek computer science because you love problem solving, you love mathematics, you love coding, then be a computer scientist, and you'll never have to work a day in your life. And I tell my students, I could be out in industry, have a PhD, I could be working as a professional programmer, software engineer. I did that for about 5 years. But my passion is teaching. And so I don't earn as much money as I could in industry, but I don't have a job that I think is a chore. My best day of my week is Monday, when I get to come back to Baylor and teach. On the weekends, I have to do chores. I have to clean the house and mow the grass. Weekends are just horrible. Mondays, I get to teach. And that's why I teach. Not for the love of money, but for the love of teaching. And I want you to choose computer science out of a love for computation. We have a plan for you. This is the 4-year plan that gets you out of Baylor on time with a degree in computer science. This first semester, you're going to take Introduction to Computer Science 1 in calculus, contemporary social issues as an elective, religion, English, chapel, and a freshman year experience course to help with the transition from high school to college. Your second semester is Intro 2 and Discrete Structures, which is really a math class, and some more courses from the core curriculum. The nice thing about this flowchart is if you want to be a bioinformatist, a cybersecurity, a software engineering, a BA, or a BS in computer science, all of them have identical freshman years. You don't have to make a decision about what flavor of computer science you want to take until your sophomore year. And so you can come, you can spend a year taking the core freshman foundation classes. You can see if it's a good fit or not. I have lots of students who start in computer science and switch to data science. And some will say, well, data science is easier. And I will say the rigor is definitely different, but that is not the motivation for switching. What a data scientist does is more application-based, and what a computer scientist does is more theory-based. So the question is, if you're interested in cars, do you want to design cars and never drive them, or do you want to just drive cars? Right? And you could say one is easier than the other, but that's not really the decision point. It's what's your passion? Is your passion design and problem solving, or is your passion the application of somebody else's design? Now that it's been designed to drive fast and corner well, I just really love driving. That's more of a data science. I'm going to use the tools. I understand the tools. I could make the tools if I have to, but that's not going to charge my batteries. My passion is going to be using the tools. Or are you really interested in math theory and computation theory and really thinking hard and long about problems? There's an episode of The Big Bang Theory, and the characters are standing in front of a whiteboard and they're playing the Eye of the Tiger, dun, 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 and they keep coming back, and they're staring at the whiteboard and they're staring at the whiteboard, and it feels like maybe a week has gone by, and then somebody stands up and puts a squiggle on the board and says, now it's obvious. That's the life of a computer scientist. I've had a problem on my whiteboard in my office sometimes for months. And I look at that problem every day and say, yep, haven't figured it out yet. But then finally I do get it. And that's a great day. That really charges my batteries. So I've already talked a little bit about the degree. I want to talk about the department. We happen to be the world headquarters of the ICPC. That's the International Collegiate Programming Contest. And they are actually conducting the world finals right now in Moscow. So earlier today, I was with my colleagues on a call in Moscow. We're running a symposium over there. We've brought together students from 113 different countries to come together for a 5-hour programming contest. It takes them a week. They have to get there, get acclimated, do some practicing. IBM several years ago said the top 12 finishers, we'll give them a job. As they walk across the stage to get their medal, we'll also give them a job offer, because these are the best programmers in the world. That happens to be headquartered at Baylor. We do have the degrees in BSCS and bioinformatics. We have a master's degree in computer science, and we have a PhD in computer science. So I want to set the seed right now. Think about grad school. We've got about 25 graduate students. We want to recruit our very strongest students to stay at Baylor to help us do research and to help us manage labs and do direct instruction. But more than that, our very best students go off someplace else, get a degree, and then we like them to come back to Baylor as professors. Parents, of all of our grad students, none of them are paying tuition. Nobody pays for an advanced degree in computer science. There are so few of them, and they're so valuable that anyone who's getting a master's degree in computer science can be fully funded. I'm here to testify that's how I got my master's degree. I was fully funded. That's how I got my PhD. I was fully funded. So none of us continue to pay beyond the bachelor's degree for our education. So I want you right now, as seniors in high school, trying to decide where you're going to go to school, be thinking 4 years out. Do I want to stay and get a master's degree or a PhD? Or do I want to go straight into industry and then consider that advanced degree perhaps later on in my career? We strongly encourage undergraduate research, so we frequently partner with our undergraduate students to assist us in doing research. Some of them use it for an honors thesis. Some are just interested in doing undergraduate research and getting a publication or maybe two. I think we had 7 undergraduates publish papers last year. There's usually a barrier to entry. So you find a professor you like and you think, you're doing machine learning. I'm really interested in artificial intelligence and machine learning. I'll approach that professor and say, can I do research with you? And the typical response is, here are a couple journal articles. Read them and come back and tell me what you learned. And now that you've read these articles and you know a little bit about the field, where would you like to contribute? So it's not going to just say, here's a project, get started on it. Right? They're going to want you to sort of engage with the research area and get a little more familiar before you're actually starting to do research. But we do have a very active undergraduate research program, and our students find a lot of comfortable success in that arena. Also, after your freshman year at Baylor, we expect you to intern. We don't want you going home and sacking groceries at HEB. We want you to get a job in industry. You're going to say, but I'm just a freshman. How can I possibly get a job after a freshman year? If you've had Intro 1 and Intro 2, you have more coding knowledge than the majority of people working as programmer analysts. We know that from the Department of Defense, for every student we graduate in computer science, there are 7 job vacancies. They take one of them, and the other 6 are filled by anyone who claims they can code. So you'll have more coding expertise at the end of your freshman year than a lot of the people who are taking jobs as programmers, because they've just self-taught a little bit of code, and that's what industry needs. So you're prepared fully after your freshman year to go and get a summer job making $25, $27 an hour, gaining great experience. And that first summer internship will help you get your next internship and your next internship and finally a full-time job. So we want you to start as a freshman. They're always paid. You can go in industry. You can go to a national research lab. We also have folks who get summer internships within academia. So they go to a research lab at another university and help conduct research there. We do hope to engage with all of our students. So all of our freshmen take Computer Science 1095. At Baylor, the first digit in the number is the level. So that's a freshman level class. The second digit is credit hour. So this is a no credit hour course, but what it helps you do is meet your peers. They go over study skills, planning for studying, academic integrity, all the sort of transition skills that a freshman needs to gain rapidly because there's no one there to cook for them or clean for them or make them get up in the morning, no one that tells them how to prepare for classes. And that's sometimes a tough transition. Every one of our students gets a faculty mentor, and you're required to meet with your mentor once a semester, or we don't let you register for the next semester. So you will definitely meet at least twice, but hopefully more, with a faculty member who will talk about how are classes going? What's your strategy for getting an internship? Have you thought about grad school? So that you can have those conversations with somebody who's more familiar with the field. All the faculty have office hours. We encourage you to meet with your faculty on a regular basis. Pre-pandemic, and hopefully sometime soon, we'll have our fall block party again. So we roll out, it's usually hamburgers, and we put tables out on the street, and we have a social. It allows the students to meet the faculty and their families, and allows the faculty to get to meet our students outside of the classroom. We have regular open houses where we just open the lobby of our office suite and have students come by. We have a spring picnic, and then bizarre enough, engineering computer science goes outside. So we spend a lot of time inside in labs, and in the spring, close to finals, they have an ultimate Frisbee tournament. And so that's called ECS Goes Outside, and that's another opportunity for the students to engage with the faculty in a non-academic environment. We talked a little bit about outcomes. Our graduating seniors go to work for Amazon, Google, Microsoft. They also go to work for more local companies. This slide has not been updated. That 90% have jobs at graduation should be 95%. 85K is still pretty accurate, but our top graduate was at 160 with a $60,000 sign-on bonus. The downside is they have to live in Seattle. Right, so this one who got the 120,000 is working for Amazon and lives in Austin. So you don't have to leave the state to get a really well-paying job. I hope this sort of gave you the context of what it is to be a computer scientist and why Baylor might be a good fit. I know we're really tight on time, but I think we may have a couple questions that were typed that I can answer.